The visit of Baroness Ashton, the High Representative for Foreign Affairs in the European Union, to Iran last weekend. She went there on the 8th of March, which just happens to be International Women's Day. I think that visit was very ill-judged, and even she herself, when she returned, said she thought that she had achieved very little. Why did she go? A high-level meeting of that kind with a prestigious leader of foreign affairs from the European Union is a propaganda gift to one of the most dangerous and evil regimes in the world. And to go there on International Women's Day, where amazingly 4 days earlier the regime had just hanged a 25-year-old mother who left behind a 10-year-old daughter. She had been in jail since she was a teenager. Iran now is just behind China in being the country that uses the death penalty most often. Since the smiling President Rouhani was elected last August, in the 8 months since his election, more than 600 people have been hanged, many of them in public. In fact, the week before Mrs. Ashton went to Tehran, there was a young man of 26 years of age hanged in public in the city of Karaj. He asked to see his mother, who was in the crowd who had come to see this public execution. And the Iranian authorities refused to allow him to see his mother. That caused public outrage and demonstrations in the city of Karaj. One of the mullah's courts has just sentenced a man to have his eyes gouged out, his ears and nose cut off. This is the modern Iran that we're dealing with. This is the so-called moderate Iran under the new smiling President Rouhani, who Baroness Ashton went to meet. Women in Iran are oppressed like in no other country in the world. A woman's evidence in court under Sharia law is worth only half the evidence of a man. And yet this is the place that Baroness Ashton chose to visit on International Women's Day. Did she raise all of these issues? Her visit almost fell apart before she got off the plane in Ayatollah Khomeini International Airport in Tehran, because Israel had just stopped a vessel heading for Gaza laden with Iranian rockets, ground-to-ground missiles, Kalashnikovs, and tens of thousands of bullets. This was Iran's gift to the Palestinian militants in Gaza, and these rockets could have been fired and could have reached any city in the state of Israel. Iran is the biggest bankroller and exporter of international terrorism in the world today, and yet this is the country that Baroness Ashton chose to visit. One has to ask why. Was she endeavouring to achieve the impossible and to stop the cat and mouse game that the mullahs are playing with the West when she tries to persuade them to decommission their nuclear weapons program? Because it is not going to work. There is zero possibility of winning this argument. They are buying time, and while they're playing pussyfoot and cat and mouse with the West, they are continuing to produce their nuclear weapons. They have imported missile delivery systems from North Korea, and soon they will be a nuclear-armed Iranian Islamic Republic, which is an extreme danger to the whole Middle East zone and to the whole world. Is this the reason she went there? Mrs. Ashton is going to develop a new nickname. She will be known as the Neville Chamberlain of the 21st century. Did she really think that she could return from Tehran and wave a piece of paper shouting "peace in our time"? Because that assuredly is a dangerous illusion.